Like, how far back can you go in valuing these things? Does it matter? Some of these places have got shearing sets on that are 100 years old now. Can they be picked up, or what's the restrictions?
Yeah, no, it's interesting. The age of the farm buildings, if you like, and farm in tax law, it goes down as plant and equipment, so it doesn't have an age barrier. There is a distinction with dwellings or houses, right? So that won't complicate it, but you'll have a 50-year-old hay shed, like you say, or a shearing shed. It still has a value. The tax department will say, all right, we understand when you bought that property, you bought some assets as well as the land, and we'll accept the value that's put on those through a depreciation report, what those assets are worth as a part of that purchase price.
Righto. All right. So is this something that people should just ring you about and get a report and then hand it to their accountant, or is this something they should talk to their accountant first about, perhaps getting a schedule put together? How do you suggest people go about it?
Yeah, I guess probably both, because I'm happy to talk to people and explain the process, because, as I say, quite often some accountants haven't sort of come across it before. Certainly more and more are. And as I say, I've been doing farm reports for about 10 years, and the number that are aware of them now compared to 10 years ago is multiplied many times. But even when I'm talking to someone that's new, I will say, who's your accountant? Have a talk to them about the report, because there's no good us doing the report if he's handling their books some other way that I'm not aware of, or it's in a trust or a company that's not appropriate. So we need to have the accountant involved as well. But it also, I can help people who are interested ask the right questions. So I don't take the accountant's place. And when we complete the report, it goes back to the accountant and he uses it for the books. But I can help people ask the right questions to get clarity on what they need to do.
Righto. Some practical questions then, Tony. How much infrastructure do we need to make it worthwhile getting a depreciation report done, or if we've just bought a property?
So very, very little, really. We go back to what we were saying before, basically a boundary fence. So that'll give you an idea, even if a property hasn't got a boundary fence. The boundary fence will more than pay for the cost of a report, and anything inside that then obviously is a bonus and sort of helps lower your taxable income.
Just make that clear, though, that what you can get out of depreciating the value of that boundary fence will effectively pay for the cost of the report, is what you're saying? Yeah. How long ago will somebody have had to have purchased more property for this to apply? How far back can we look?
Yeah, a little bit. It's sort of each individual, obviously, because depending on the size of the property and how much was on it. But I haven't found any farms really that I've, say, purchased even 8 or 10 years ago. We go back to about 8 years. Like in reality, I can go back as far as you like, as long as you tell me what was on that property because the reports are based on the date of settlement, right? So let's say you've settled. We'll even make it now, say 2010, so 8 years ago. I would need to know what was there and if you've, say, built more sheds, then I'd need to know that, because that wasn't part of the purchase arrangement, if you know what I mean. But those sheds would still, as I say, because the report goes over, say, 30-odd years, those sheds, while some of it would have depreciated, and the issue becomes, I guess, is because the accountant can only go back so far without applying to the tax department for an exemption, right? So I can go back 10 years. Your accountant might only be able to go back, 2, 3 or 4 years, unless he sees the value in contacting the tax department saying, can we have an exemption to go back further? That's my understanding of how most accountants deal with it. Yep.